Why should people over 35 prepare for a layoff? About a year ago, I felt pretty secure in my soft girl tech job until it wasn't. In this video, I'll break down what I would have known before myself and 25% of the company got laid off. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Xavier. I'm your job search cheerleader and bestie, and also your favorite marketing girly. So, back to this whole layoff thing. To be real, I didn't see it coming, and neither did my colleagues that also got the hatchet. We didn't think it was going to happen. I also didn't see any signs of a layoff. So, just 2 weeks before we all got rift or experienced a reduction in force, we had a company wide meeting. It was an all hands meeting. They told us during that call that we were doing well, we were profitable, we were meeting our margins and targets. So we didn't think that anything was wrong, that we had anything to worry about. The company was doing well. I had a lot of work to do. Everyone had a lot of work to do. So we were under the impression that we were fine. Essentially, during that entire call, they told us that business was booming and we were doing great. And then there came Doomsday or the Friday before Memorial Day. At around about 11:30 in the morning, I lost all access to my Google Docs. And so I had never been locked out of Google Docs before. I thought it was a Chrome issue, so I hit the refresh button to see if maybe it was like Chrome updated or something like that and I needed to sign back in. But when I hit the refresh and my screen reloaded, the message was still the same. It said I was locked out. And of course, I lost all access while I was in the middle of building a really important project. And that's when I started reaching out to my other colleagues and teammates like, yo, do you still have access to your Google Docs? And one of them responded back to me. It was like, yeah, but this happened last time. They did a reduction in force. And after it happened, like my Google Docs access was reinstated or whatever. So I was like, cool, maybe that's the case this time around. But I don't remember because they did a layoff like the year before I was laid off. And I don't remember my Google Docs access being cut off. So it was kind of weird to me. And then I got an email. I got an email in my inbox. And that email was like, hi, you're receiving this email because we're going through a major restructure in the organization. You know, we're really thinking carefully about the future state of the company, blah, 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 right? And of course, that's when I had like a feeling that something big and really bad was about to happen. And so, for context, I had never been laid off before. So this was a first time thing for me. And honestly, I had no clue what was going on. Then 5 minutes after that company wide email, I got another email that said, if you are receiving this email, unfortunately, your role has been impacted and you are no longer employed with the company, for lack of better words. Then in that email, it also said, like, by 6 p.m. tonight, you're going to lose all access. So to your email, to Slack, et cetera, et cetera. And when I tell you I was shocked, friend, I was shocked and appalled. Yeah, it was like a slap in the face because they just told us that we were doing well. The company was doing well. They just told us that like we were profitable and that there were no subsequent like reorg changes happening. So we thought we were fine. And then after that initial shock, I started to panic. And I don't wish that feeling on anybody. It's a horrible feeling to just kind of be thrown out to the wolves and not have anything to defend yourself with. You don't know where your next paycheck is going to come from. You've been solely reliant on that income to pay for your bills, to pay for your student loans, your mortgage, whatever. It was very panic inducing. I will say that. And honestly, I feel like nowadays that feeling is becoming the norm because more and more people are starting to experience layoffs, federal layoffs, tech layoffs, it doesn't matter. Companies are losing money, so their biggest expense is their people. So they're just chopping away at that overhead. And as an older millennial, I'm 39, I just turned 39. So as someone who is creeping up on 40, and for someone who's never been laid off before, This was a very eye opening experience for me. So, if you've ever been laid off or you're worried that it could happen to you at some point in your career, stick around. Today, I'm sharing the three things I really wish someone would have told me before I got laid off. So, first things first, don't neglect your LinkedIn. And if you've neglected it, get back on it ASAP. If I can be completely honest with you, when I had a job, I barely was on LinkedIn. I also felt like posting on LinkedIn at the time was very cringe. Like, only weird people who wanted to brag all the time posted on LinkedIn. And I know I can't be the only person that felt that way about LinkedIn and it being kind of cringy and kind of just doing the most by like posting and commenting and all that stuff, slide into people's DMs, whatever. But when I got laid off, friend, let me tell you, I was on there like every day, all day, commenting. I started posting. Like my first post after layoff was about my layoff and that I'm on the job market and I need to find something else. And I was also using it as an opportunity to not only catch up with old colleagues, connect with the people that got laid off with me, but also connect with new people who could potentially open doors to new opportunities. And so here's what I wish I would have done sooner, right? I wish I would have posted regularly. Even if you have a job right now, post on there at least 1 to 2 times a week. This helps build new connections and it also keeps eyes on your profile. Like I said, one of my first posts after I got laid off was about my layoff, right? And it was super duper relatable. And a lot of people commented and reached out and was like, oh my gosh, hire her ASAP. And that gave me hope that people had confidence in my ability as a professional. But not only did people hype me up, like that post helped me to connect with other folks who were going through the same thing I was all over the world, essentially, and expressing their condolences for my experience and also giving me tips on how to stay motivated in a time where layoffs are becoming so common. I actually made a connection through that post that helped me find my next job. So I'm really grateful that I got over the cringe essentially and started posting on LinkedIn because if it hadn't have been for that initial post, I wouldn't have met that person who put me in touch with someone else that got me a job. I also would have kept my headline and my about me section or my summary updated on a regular basis. So as a rule of thumb for me, I like to update those like update my headline like every couple of weeks and update my summary maybe once a quarter. And I use that as an opportunity to jam pack like my headline or my about me section with a bunch of keywords that align with jobs that I was looking for or jobs that I could be interested in the future. Also, LinkedIn has an algorithm, like all of these social platforms have an algorithm. So when you update your headline regularly, it keeps you fresh on like a recruiter page so that they see that you're active on the platform. And it also keeps you like on the top of their pages when they do search for candidates. So it's good to make sure that you keep up with that page, keep it refreshed, update your picture like once a year or whatever the case may be, just to show that you're active on there and you're a real person and recruiters can get in touch with you for opportunities down the line. Another thing I wish I would have done sooner would have been to connect with old coworkers, expand my network with new people, connected with people from my university, things of that nature. It's also good to check in with folks every now and again. That old coworker, you never know where they ended up or could end up. That can get you another opportunity down the line. It's also good to build new connections. If you don't know a person, so what? Like, get to know them, send them a friend request. I don't know if it's a friend request or a network connection request, but send them the request and build a relationship from there. Send them a DM, comment on one of their posts or whatever to get that relationship started because that person could end up being your boss or your coworker one day. All this to say is that you never know where life will take you or take them, and there's a possibility that you can end up crossing paths with these people at some point throughout your career. And then I wish I would have shared my wins from work on a quarterly basis. You shouldn't just post on LinkedIn or reach out to LinkedIn when you need or want a job, right? Like you should use it as your brag book as well. Like that platform is meant to help you elevate yourself in your career, not just to job hunt. So make sure you take some time. Like if you did something really huge at work, if you contributed to a team project that, I don't know, garnered millions of dollars for your company, like you should definitely talk about that on LinkedIn so that hiring managers or recruiters can see, like, hey, like this person is legit. Like this person does really good work and pat yourself on the back, every now and again. It's okay. So if you're employed right now, like if you have a job right now, go on and update your LinkedIn. Even if you're not job hunting, like it's good to just pop on there every now and again. LinkedIn can essentially be like your online portfolio, and your future self, whether you get laid off or you're looking for a new job, that future self will thank you. Trust me. The second thing I wish someone would have told me was to save money. Okay. Build an emergency fund, at least 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. I say this because layoffs don't come with a 30-day notice. The hatchet drops like when it drops. So it's good to have some cushion in the bank just in case at all times. So when I got laid off, I got a 14-week severance, and that was good, but I didn't know how long I was going to be unemployed for. So even though I had that money, I still had to budget exponentially to make sure I could stretch it for as long as I possibly could. And I know I've mentioned in a previous video that it took me 4 months to find a new role. So in that time period, unfortunately, we had to tap into not only our savings that we already had saved up, but we also had to use credit cards for some expenses. And even though we had a very like small emergency fund, it would have still been better if we had 3 to 6 months saved up, because then we wouldn't have had to tap into using credit cards and putting ourselves in more debt than we already have. Because we already had credit card debt and we already have student loan debt. So it would have been better if we would have had that cushion essentially to help us tie over the 3 months of severance that I had. And I'll tell you what, we will never be caught without some emergency fund savings ever again, okay? Having that money saved up would have helped us with paying our bills, right? Not just our bills, but our mortgage, daycare for our toddler. It also would have helped with our mental health, right? Because anxiety and job search anxiety, unemployment anxiety, those are real things. Plus, nobody knows how long they're going to be unemployed for in this job market. Like I've seen some wild stats that says on average it takes a person 5 months to find a new job, but I know people that have been searching for much longer than that, 6 months, 12 months, people that were even laid off with me that have been searching for a year, 18 months even. It's pretty crazy how long you can be unemployed for. Also, having that 3 to 6 month emergency fund would have helped us stretch that 14-week severance better. And even though I'm blessed and super thankful, like thank you God that I found a new job in 4 months, it still would have given us more money in the event that it took longer than 4 months for me to find a job. And to be quite frank with you, we're still in the process of building up that 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Even though I've had a job since September, it takes a while for you to get back on your feet, to be honest, and build up an emergency fund that in the event that something like this happens again, you're covered. All this to say that you don't have to be a financial guru, right? Like, you don't have to be a financial advisor by any means, but you should stash away a little bit of money every paycheck. It could be $20 or $100, whatever you're most comfortable with and whatever your budget will allow. Like put that away in a high yield savings account for a rainy day in the event that that rain does come. If you're safe in your job today, or if you feel safe in your job today, save like your layoff future self would need it. And lastly, and I cannot stress this enough, lastly, save your work. Like save your work on a quarterly basis. Download PDFs of your work, things that you're proud of, your metrics, your qualitative and quantitative impacts, like save it all. Listen, When I got laid off and all of my access was cut off to all of my work, everything that I had ever done in that 3 year time span that I was with that company, I was scrambling trying to figure out what I was going to do next, right? So I had to reach out to old colleagues that were still employed there to send me my metrics or send me things that were very important for me so I can use those things to update my resume. And I wouldn't have had to do that had I saved my work on a quarterly basis. Not every 2 weeks, not every day, but every few months. Like if I would have just saved the work that I was proud of and that I know moved the needle for my company, I wouldn't have had to scramble to ask people to send me my work or send me metrics. And I also didn't know whether or not they were going to respond to me to send me those things. So as a fail safe for future, like save your work every 3 months and you don't have to worry about them. And on top of that, like it's hard to remember what you did 3 months ago, let alone 3 years ago. So you trying to reflect back on all the things that you did to update your resume, especially if you've not been interviewing or in the job market for years, like that's tough. So it's good to have like a running brag doc, a running document that has your key metrics, your qualitative accomplishments, quantitative accomplishments, things that you're really, really proud of that you can look back on and update your resume with when the time comes to update your resume. You can also use this list that you're compiling to update your LinkedIn or your portfolio on a quarterly basis. And I'll tell you this, like, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm never not gonna save my work ever again, okay? This makes updating your resume when you need to have it updated 10 times easier. And it helps for those performance reviews as well and your salary negotiations with your boss in the future. So, my advice to you is to set a calendar reminder for every 3 months to save your work. All right, y'all, I'm coming to the end of this video, but I do want to say a couple more things. Getting laid off sucks, right? Like, there's no other way to put it. And again, I don't wish layoff on anybody, but I will say this: the better prepared you are for a layoff, the better you are on the other side of it. So, to recap, I want you to update and get active on LinkedIn, save money when and where you can. Every little bit counts, and keep track of your impact and your successes at your current job. You'll be so glad you did, okay? If you've been laid off or you're experiencing a layoff right now, drop a comment below. Like, what do you wish you would have known sooner? Or if you're just trying to be proactive and you feel very secure in your job, but you need some insurance, let me know what you're doing to prep in the event that a layoff does happen. And as always, like this video if it helped, subscribe for more real talk about job searching, especially in this current market, and grab my free job search checklist that's linked in the description below. Remember that you've got this, all right? God bless, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.